Let's talk about the new Prowler, folks. The Asperia Prowler utility, stealth and style. We got stealth to talk about today. I think stealth could actually be a cool part of this game. It's been a little bit underutilized, not incredibly well explained just yet. And it's not set up to the point where I think people are using it strategically as we should. That being said, I've got a little bit of an update here from Star Citizen Live from a couple years ago. I think one of the most recent updates we've had on how stealth is imagined to work. So we're going to touch on this, but first I want to look at the Prowler's Q&A, because I do imagine they have something in there about stealth and whatnot. What makes this stealthy? It's got proven stealth capabilities. There you go. One of the Asperia Prowler's key strengths is its stealth. Can we expect similar low signature performance from the utility variant? They said, currently the base Prowler is slightly stealthier than the utility due to its military application. The utility's larger physical footprint and additional external features like winglets and cargo doors result in a slightly higher signature. That said, while the original dropship variant of the Asperia Prowler remains a top performer in terms of stealth, the utility variant still boasts a strong stealth profile. It may be slightly less effective, but it remains more than capable of discreetly moving valuable cargo across the verse. Let us see if they talk any more deeply about the stealth features. Combination of stealth and cargo functionality. Designed with stealth in mind. High-risk zones like jump towns, settlements, and pyro or smuggling runs, the integrated tractor beam and large cargo doors let the co-pilot assist with cargo collection mid-flight, enabling quick getaways without having to land. Somebody's still got to get out of the ship and spawn the goods to pick up. Like, hell yeah, we're going to stop at this pyro outpost and pick up these goods real quick. Don't worry, we don't have to get out of the ship. You stop and hover and you're like, okay, pick up the boxes. So the information we get here about stealth is not incredibly telling. They're mostly just telling us that it is made for stealth, and that it's got a rare blend of stealth capabilities, aggressive aesthetic, operate under the radar. Mainly, it sounds like it's just signatures, but we do have a pretty in-depth explanation here of a few minutes of the devs telling us kind of what they have in mind for stealth gameplay, at least, that I'm going to get into in a second here. This has all stealth components, including grade A power plants. So what I want to see here is it all just stealth components, or is there anything else to a stealthy ship? Prowler's cross-section is still 10 clicks overhead, so it isn't stealth. I mean, that's not to say it isn't stealth. They could just balance the rest of the game to be 10 clicks is a really stealthy capability. But honestly, why don't we listen to what the devs say here?
Stealth. Was that the question?
Yeah.
Well,
stealth.
Anything?
I'm going to go stealth right now by going really quiet.
Success.
Yeah. So we kind of see like personally, I see stealth as a ship that is, its main ability is to mask itself, so you can hide and you can be sneaky, So it's got that more kind of tactics to it, where you can use the environment to hide, and you can move your resources of the ship to kind of manage that. So you can kind of control how much you're seen in the universe. So you can plan something, whether it's plan to sneak up on someone or just plan to attack someone, and that's how I see stealth in the game. And it's going to become really it's going to be a really critical resource network, because that's going to give you really good control over how kind of stealthy you go, because you can be able to take it much further than you can now.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, on the resource network thing, there's already talks of like how heat and cooling can influence stealth and emissions. Because essentially with ships, the emissions is going to be really what the stealth is, I guess. So if you can hide, like there's two kinds of versions of stealth. You're either not there, or people think you're not there, or people think you're something else. So you could have like emissions that pretend you're some casual cargo hauler, but you're actually a fleet of Idrises, and just try and pretend that you're not for a while.
A casual cargo hauler or a fleet of Idrises? That's a big cargo hauler.
Like there's stories of like stealth fighters who because of the way the stealth fighters emissions profile is set up, when they get hit by a radar signature and it deflects off all the different faces of the plane, and then it comes back and the radar sees it as like, that's like a pigeon, that's nothing to worry about. and then suddenly the pigeon turns into a stealth like aircraft for like 2 seconds because it's opened its bay doors and then closes it again and go, that pigeon turned into a plane for a bit. Maybe we should shoot something at it. So something like that. You can have the 2 different versions of like, we hide it completely, like clamp the emissions completely so you can't be seen in a big radius. Or you can just blare out like noise and obscure whatever you want. And so like with Resource Network, if you have, if that gets tied into heat and stuff, you can have coolers that are like blaring out loads of IR, for example. They could pretend to be something else. And then if you want to go the other route and then
I think that's where something like the Terrapin is going to be really beneficial because the Terrapin can actually close up its venting and hold the heat inside. I don't know how effective it is right now, but I imagine they'll make that kind of a nice little benefit of that ship.
Hide all of those emissions, turn all your coolers off, or like have some kind of thermal shielding around it, and then you just slowly cook in your ship because it's heating up. Because that heat's supposed to go somewhere. That's what the emission is normally. And if it's not emitting heat, I guess you're just gonna steam slowly.
And as Stengun asks, as a follow-up, why is that pigeon going Mach 5?
Yeah,
I was wondering, Sting. I was hoping one of you would say it so I didn't have to be the jerk.
it's a very powerful pigeon.
It's not a very good radar operator on that particular ship. That pigeon's going Mach 5. That's one very impressive pigeon.
Why has that pigeon launched a missile at us?
No. And how does the invisibility bug factor into all that?
It's very stealthy. But it's not the right kind of stealth. It's like that old bug we had where all the players could turn into golf balls. But technically...
Oh, I'd forgotten about the golf ball.
Yeah.
Jeez, that was a while ago.
That was difficult to fix.
Is that invisibility bug still going on?
I'm not sure.
I know it's not on our teams.
No.
But
The last I heard, I think someone made some progress on fixing one of the many ways that it can happen. So maybe
that's what's really annoying. It was the same thing with the golf ball bug.
Yeah,
There wasn't just one cause. It was actually a myriad of causes.
Yeah.
And so, finding every cause, you find one cause and it actually obscures 3 other causes.
Yeah.
So it's, yeah.
That's what bug fixing on complicated situations can be sometimes. You just get, you fix one bug to make it work correctly, and then it turns out working correctly broke 8 other things.
I just know it's very frustrating. But
yes.
The level of frustrating conversations I've seen internally about that bug over the last several weeks have been... Yeah. I can't imagine it's any better for the players. But, folks are working on it. It's the best I can offer.
Okay, I think that's the end of that question. I was trying to see if they were done. So there it is. It's all about emissions and signatures. And masking those emissions. So that does leave a question about the cross-section then. Is that actually going to spoil a stealth ship? It'll be interesting to see how they handle that. Because they're going to have to make them so that you can get close. And obviously, this kind of works out in certain situations when you have a physical obstruction, like a gas cloud or clouds or anything else like that. But it makes it harder to get close enough when you don't have that. What about cross-section? I think we should blend with the environment if we hug the ground. Right, they didn't really talk about that. Determined by physical size, shape, overall dimensions. Larger vehicles naturally have higher cross-sections, making them easier to detect on radar, regardless of their EM or IR. Additionally, some chassis have modifiers to simulate radar-absorbent coatings, particularly on stealth ships. Oh, wait a second. Some chassis have modifiers to simulate radar-absorbent coatings, particularly on stealth ships. That might be what they do. Once they actually do the scanning stuff, they might have modifiers for stealth ships that make their cross-section not matter as much. Probably where they're going to go with it. Interesting that they don't mention it anywhere, though. Just one little line on the back of this page that you literally can't find unless you know what to search for on Google. That's indicative of Star Citizen information. So, besides these sort of coatings that might be on ships, for all we know, that could be something that you just get in the game too. I don't know. I think that they'll probably do some stuff to make ships particularly stealthy, but it sounds like it's all going to be based mainly around our scanning and our emissions, which you can learn all about right here in this guide. This gives a lot of information about this ER or EM, which isn't even mentioned in the signature section. So, they got to give us a bit of a deep dive, a little bit of a plan layout to what they want to do with scanning, but it does sound like from the monthly reports, this is stuff that's going to come up sooner than later, especially with the resource network also coming in. They mentioned that as being pretty important. So there's your update on stealth. Yay.